What it do, guys? It's D'Anthony here, man, aka Hood Scout, back again for another edition of the Hood Scout podcast. And this is really a unique podcast, a podcast like no other. We're going to have athletes, we're going to have coaches, we're going to have intellectuals, we're going to have media members of all sorts. And don't forget, guys, to like this podcast, share this podcast, and help grow this podcast. This is not just my podcast. This is also your podcast. And the only reason it's going to grow is because you guys are going to be invested in it, guys. Sit back, get your beverage of choice ready, get your popcorn ready, get your dinner ready, get your steak ready, get your vegan meal ready. Tune in, guys. Hood Scout. Peace. So you listen to part one of this amazing podcast with Coach Marcus out at McKinney. Part two is on the docket. Continue to support it. Get your popcorn, like I always say, man. Get your beverage of choice. Sit back. You may be able to listen to this while you're on your workout, but really support this thing by liking it, by sharing it, by dropping a comment, especially if you're listening on YouTube, wherever you listen to, wherever your podcasts are available. Share it, like it, and support it as we continue to as we continue to build the brand, should I say. Shout out to BS3 Radio and Network. You guys are doing great work, and it's a partnership. Let's keep this thing going, man. Hood Scout signing out. Peace. What was that next stop after West Mesquite?
So I had 3 years at West Mesquite. Then I was blessed to get my first opportunity to be a head coach. Went out to Lubbock Estacado and was out there.
Oh wow, coach! Now that's a big deal. So you went way from Mesquite to Lubbock. You got to walk me through that one.
Yeah. So they had a head coaching job at Lubbock Estacado come open, and I actually knew the AD, had met the AD a couple times prior to that, and just had a rapport built with him already. And so yeah, that was that was how he called me. It was like, man, Estacado's a good fit. You know, you should apply. And he said, I'll get up 3 or 4 other people, and you may get an interview. If you do, you need to go through. And so anyway, I ended up getting the interview, went through that process, and luckily got the job. And it changed my career like quickly, because went there, got a program that was, had been a good program with a lot of tradition and history, got that deal going, and had some success out there, did right by kids, took care of the kids that I coached out there, took care of the coaches that I coached with, always did right by people. And I think when you do that, God bless you,
Yeah.
That's my belief. And I always did right by people. And
yeah.
I think more than the wins, more than the successes and all that kind of stuff, it allowed us to go from there to I have an opportunity to go and be at McKinney High School.
So, Coach, now you're a young man. It wasn't an issue going from West Mesquite with essentially the DFW area, for those who may be listening out of state, to Lubbock. Like that wasn't never an issue for you?
No, not for me, man. Like you got to think, man, when I graduated high school in 2005, and I didn't live in Dallas for like 8 years after I graduated. Okay. So I'm from here, born and raised here, graduated in 2005, and I was gone for 8 years straight. It was like I went and did a bid or something. I left, it was like 4 years in Arkansas. It was only coming back on visits, and then went 4 years in Wichita Falls. It was on. So I didn't live back at home for 8 years, like after I graduated high school. So then I came back for 3 years, and I was at West Mesquite. And so for me, like, I mean,
it wasn't really nothing. So no, go ahead, come back.
Yeah, no, that was it though. It wasn't a big deal. You was gonna miss your family, but it was like, man, I'm good. I'm in a situation where I can be ready to go do this.
So after that Lubbock job, then what?
So was there for 2 years. was ready to be back in Dallas.
Okay.
Wanted to get back, and my goal had always been to be at a 6A program.
Uh-oh.
Want to be back in the Metroplex because I just felt like, you know, all the football really out here, but 6A football in the DFW is the cream of the crop. Like that's the best high school football in the world is done right here where I'm from. And so I want to be back in that field and back in this area in some capacity. I didn't care what kind of capacity, but I just knew, like, by the time my son started kindergarten, he was 2, like I want to be back. And so the McKinney opportunity presented itself, and it was something I looked into and felt like, man, you know what? That might be it right there. Let me go see if this is something that we can make work and build, and it was a good fit. It was a good marriage for both myself and the district, and we've just been fortunate the last 4 years now.
Now, walk me through that phone call and that interview process. Did you have a feeling like, man, this is my job, I'm gonna get it? Walk me through that, because that's a big job, guys. And whoever may be listening all over, McKinney is a thriving area. It's an area that's growing. It's not an insignificant job. So how did it come about as far as the process to get it?
Man, so you find out that the job is open. You go through regular, like any other job, put your application, letter of interest, all that stuff in. And then you get a call. You have some conversations with Coach Pratt, the AD from out here, reached out. He got my stuff, talked to me about the job, said that he may be in touch if I was to go, get an interview. But he just wanted me to know he knew me and knew some people that knew me, and they said good things. And so networking, people who knew me spoke well about me to somebody that didn't know me.
Oh, that's powerful.
That allowed me to be able to go and meet him, and so was fortunate enough to get through to the interview process. And went on the
let me stop you, Coach. Was it a lot of big names for that job? Not big names, but you like okay.
Yeah, I mean, from what I hear, there are some successful coaches I think applied, but to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you exactly who applied. I couldn't.
And I don't want no names. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure that was a coveted job, is what I mean.
Yeah, it was definitely. I know that for a fact that it was a lot of people, because I think at the time they had released it was, maybe 75 applicants for the job.
Woo! Wow.
And amongst that list of applicants, it was several. Numerous guys with head coaching experience. There was some Division I college coordinators in that mix, and so it was definitely a job that sought the attention, I would think, of a lot of good coaches, no doubt. And so we went through the interview process, put the best foot forward, sold myself, sold my program, and man, by the grace of God, they saw me as the right fit at the right time for McKinney High School, and it worked out. They offered it to me, prayed on it. I took it, and just been rolling since that day.
That's a blessing. So McKinney head coach, big program, 6A. How did it feel? How did it feel to be, because this is almost one of them destination type jobs. How did it feel when you finally, got the job? What were some of the goals, and what did you want to implement at this school, at this, institution?
Man, we want to be the best. McKinney's got a strong, rich tradition of successful athletic programs, football programs, but it's outdated. McKinney has struggled in football for the vast majority of the time that they've been open, really since the other schools in McKinney opened up. McKinney was a powerhouse program when there was only one McKinney High School. I think over the years, for various different reasons, 2 new schools opening up and things of that nature start to happen. McKinney, the history shows that the quality of football that was being played here had went downhill. We wanted to come here and we saw the infrastructure of McKinney. How, when I say infrastructure, we saw what McKinney ISD was as a district, what they represented, the support that they gave, the resources that they had, the facilities, the location, all of those things, the education, the model for coaching success was set up where you could go and build a program. And I'm a builder. That's what I like to do. I like to try to build programs. And like this was something that I said, man, they got everything that you could ask for in building a program. So let's get in here and work it and see if we can go be the best that's ever done it over here. And
that's powerful.
That's what we're in the process we trying to do.
How did you formulate your staff, coach?
Man, I went out and hired the best people that I could find for the position. Starts off with your coordinators, finding guys that had the right mindset and the right skill set and work to go and develop something from the ground up. I wanted a staff that mimicked, I guess I should say I wanted a staff that was a reflection of our football team. I wanted to build a staff that had guys, a diverse group of guys, that everybody in our program could find somebody on staff that they could connect to and relate to.
Well, that's a nugget.
And I just really think that the diversity piece is just so important. And when I talk about diversity, I'm not just talking race. You know what I'm saying? It's important for me to get people that listen to all different types of genres of music and had all different types of hobbies and activities and family traditions, and guys with a lot of kids and guys with no kids, and married guys. So, man, just a diverse group of good people at different stages of their life. So all of our kids felt like they have. I mean, there's not one coach on our staff that can relate to every kid, in the program. So
that's powerful, coach. That's powerful. I've never heard anybody say that like that. You guys have a young team. I mean, I seen you guys out in the spring. Man, this gets me excited talking about it from this perspective, because you got some guys, big time recruits. Both sides of the ball. Y'all a very young team. Walk me through the summer of this year, and then walk me through this year, because you're still building. I want people to know he's still building this program, which takes time. But walk me through the summer and walk me through this year, coach.
Summer we felt like was good. We knew we had a young group of guys coming in, but we also had a really strong group of seniors that had been in the program, going into their fourth year in the program. And man, we were excited. I think the summer provides a lot of optimism for everybody. I think that's the time of the year everybody in the state think this the year that the level of optimism is very high for every program. I feel like for most programs in June, July. So we were no different. We felt like we were going to be really good. We were talented. We had some new coaches in place that we were excited about, and had made some changes and had to, make some, replace some coaches that had left to go on and do other things, and felt like we were good in replacing them. And so there was just some excitement. And then we went into the season, and that momentum had carried us. We started off, we won our first game. We turned around and we played really bad first half of football versus Flower Mound Marcus, and was down, 28-0 at the half, and came back in that game and ended up winning that game 28-21. And so, bounced back the next week, with a big win against Rowlett, then turned around and had a big win against Sherman. But we finished non-district play 3-1. We're going into district play. We go into the toughest district, we felt like in the state of Texas at this time. We opened up with Den Geyer. We played.
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah, and we played them, and the game comes down to, last couple minutes in the fourth quarter, really decided the game, and it went their way, and just went through district play and just struggled. We didn't get a win in district play until week 10, when we played Little Elm. But was in every single district game, in every game that we were in, it was, within 2 possessions,
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are the things that come with starting 8 sophomores,
Yeah.
They got to take their lumps, at the end of the day. And so they did that. They took their lumps. It was a humbling experience because you want to win. And our guys, it was a weird deal because they practiced hard, they worked hard, did all the things the right way, and we just wasn't coming out, on the scoreboard, wasn't reflecting the work that was being put in. So it was frustrating. We didn't really understand it, but you learned a lot. You took
from a coaching and leadership perspective, Coach. Like I say, you got a young, good team. What's that thing that you probably say, man, we didn't win probably because of this, or we're going to work on this, in the spring and the summer so we can kind of win those games.
I know this would probably sound cliche, but I think in hindsight, we didn't have an identity.
Okay.
As a football team, I think that, from an offensive standpoint, we didn't have our mind wrapped around what we wanted to be as an offense. We didn't have our mind wrapped around really, our identity had gotten away from us a little bit. And, this game is about players. And ultimately, the better teams have player-led football teams. And when you have a more reserved group of senior leadership, not the most vocal guys, guys are trying to find who are we, who is our identity in their way. And I don't think we did a good enough job as a coaching staff, starting with me as the head coach, to try to find what that identity was for our football team. And we suffered because of that. Now, I also would say, not to make excuses, but we suffered a lot of injuries that would be hard for any football team to overcome. We lost 4 out of the 5 our starting offensive linemen that we started the season with throughout the season for extended periods of time. We played 4 quarterbacks throughout the season. And so, man, when you have those type of things going on,
that's tough.
Make it tough for your football team. So, but man, you learn from all of that, and you took them L's and you turned them into lessons. And I'm really looking forward to the type of football team and the type of men that we got in the program from this experience.
Who are some of those? I mean, because I'm like, Coach, I'm telling y'all, Coach got some weapons over there. Who are some of those young leaders, Coach, for your team that you see kind of rising up?
Yeah, man. There's a lot of leadership, man. I think about, starting in the 23 class, guys like Christian Ford, who's a senior safety for us, that's a quiet, more reserved guy, but leads by example. His pads talk way louder and way more than he does. His work ethic speaks way louder than he does. You got the quiet guys like Christian Ford, Miles Elam, that are guys in that class that are bringing it. Cam, Murrow, that's that's another quiet leader that just leads by example. You have your more vocal guys in that class. Adrian Gallardo, Royce Carver. Those guys are just dedicated football players that love the game, that love the process, that love football. They're just working all the time. Guys like Adrian McIntrish, they fall into their role, just guys that just lead by example. The great thing about this team is such a player-led group. Like, they all do a good job of leading themselves, but then they all respond well to each other. So our juniors, our guys that are sophomores, going to be juniors, our our class of 2024 guys, Brian Jackson,
Loaded.
Frazier, Xavier Filsamy, just the guys in that class, DK Abrams, man, those guys are all guys in that class right there that are, working hard, passionate leaders, vocal, just doing a fantastic job of just leading by example, and growing and bringing everybody close around them, and just the way those classes all just mesh with each other, and how those older guys go back and take some of those younger guys, under their wings and help them be successful. It's been awesome to see throughout this point of off season, and that's what it's supposed to be about.
We're coming up on 50 minutes, so we're going to wrap this thing up. Just a few more questions, Coach. Speak to your coaching staff. What are some of their names, and speak a little bit to your coaching staff?
Yeah, appreciate you asking. Those guys are the guys that get it, that make it all happen. Our defensive coordinator, associate head coach, and recruiting coordinator, Corey Jordan, man, that's our right hand man. He does a fantastic job with the defensive backs, with the defense, and with the recruiting, and just a dynamic leader and great for our program. Our offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and recruiting coordinator of the offense is Trent Kirkland. Man, you'll be hard pressed to find a better offensive mind in the country like this guy. He's so creative. He's smart. He knows ball, and he's a really good play caller and great developer of quarterbacks. And so excited to have those guys leading our offense and defense. Our O-line coach, Rowdy Harper, he's our co-offensive coordinator, fantastic developer of linemen. Some of the things that he's doing outside of our off-season program, tied in with our powerlifting program, has been tremendous for that group of guys that participate in powerlifting. Zach Conk, who's our running back coach, strength and conditioning coordinator, things he's doing with our strength and conditioning department, just really transcending our program to another level, I feel like. Coach Kuwais, our special teams coordinator, one of our track coaches, coaches receivers, doing a great job with the track program along with Coach So, our outside linebackers coach. And so, man, just a lot of fantastic coaches on staff. Coach Collins, our head powerlifting coach, Coach McCarty, those guys coach our defensive line. Coach Kaufman, inside linebackers coach. We just got a lot of really good coaches, fantastic coaches. Coach Anderson works with our receivers. We're just very blessed to have so many coaches and so many guys that on my staff wear multiple hats. I have sometimes when I look at these guys' titles, but like they do so much. I think I look at Coach Jordan and he's like DB coach, defensive coordinator, associate head coach, recruiting coordinator, and depending on the day, which one of those titles is more important. Depending on the hour, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he wears them all well. So I mean, we're blessed in McKinney ISD and at McKinney High School to be able to go out and attract really good coaches at our schools, and we're no different. We got some really quality human beings and really good football coaches on our staff.
You're still really to be a relatively young coach. What are some ways that a young coach can grow, Coach? So you're still molding yourself, if you will.
Absolutely, man. I think listening. I think that old adage of, and I'm still trying to learn it myself, but just listening twice as more as you talk.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's the advice. Man, get around people, go work, go listen, go learn from other people. You could be smart, you can have opinions and have answers, but man, I just think that in order to grow, you got to be willing to be vulnerable and open yourself up to different ideas and try to see other people's perspective and see other people's, why they do the things that way they do instead of challenging it. I think
that's good.
Instead of going into places and you see like, oh man, so why do y'all live this way? Why don't y'all just, why don't you go see why? Because, man, the one thing I've learned from taking over 2 different programs as a head coach is that you got to tailor-made your program to fit the place that you're at. I can't run Lubbock Estacado High School the same way I was at West Mesquite. I can't run Lubbock Estacado the same high school plan that we had at Allen. It doesn't fit there.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, I can't go from Lubbock Estacado to McKinney and run McKinney the exact same way. You can have principles and standards and things that carry over, but those are 2 different places that have different needs, and there are certain things that you got to have a certain level of emotional intelligence to be able to adjust in your plan. And so know your customer. I think that's one of the things I learned that from Cal Ward. Was the first person I heard, say that. And he said he learned it from Emmett Jones, the old coach at SOC. He said, man, you got to know your customer. Wherever you are, wherever you are at a place, you got to know your customer, know the person know the people that you coaching, know what you're trying to get done. And so, be willing to go listen and see that there's multiple, different ways to do things, and go try to learn them all. The old saying is, it's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, go find out all the different ways it is to skin a cat. And now when you get your cat, you can go figure out which one worked for you. So,
yeah, we're pretty get ready to end this, Coach. We've been rolling for a whole hour, and I want to end on these 2 things. I want your definition. Give your definition of team, and give your definition of faith, and then we're done.
My definition of team, I think team for me is a group of individuals that are, working toward the same goal. Notice I didn't say the same individuals, but a group of individuals that are working toward the same goal. I think that's what essentially makes you a team.
Mm-hmm.
And my definition of faith is, believing in things that you really can't see in front of you, that aren't tangible to you, but believing that those things are still possible to attain. I think that's when I think about faith. That's what I think about.
Wonderful, man. Just about an hour interview, man, on the Hood Scout podcast.
Hood Scout
with Coach. Hey, Coach, man, I'm grateful that you came on here, man. I appreciate it. You probably ain't talked this long in a while, just nonstop. So get you some rest, drink you some water, and enjoy your night, man. I'm thankful for you.
I appreciate you, man. I wish you the best of luck. Keep doing your thing.
Yes, sir. Take care, brother. Peace.
All right, you too.
All right.